Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and colleague panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Excuse me. I would like to present a Taiwan perspective on the IT hardware and electronic industry. According to US-based research firm Gartner Incorporated, the Internet of Things install base, excluding PCs, smartphones, and tablets, will reach 26 billion units by 2020, up from 900 million in 2009. Revenue from related product and service suppliers is projected to top $300 billion by then, with end markets worth $1.9 trillion worldwide. The Internet of Things, smart home technology, and wearable devices will drive the next wave of development in the electronic industry. In the face of a market boom driven by smart handheld devices, including smartphones and tablet PCs, Taiwan's information technology industry is facing great challenges. The PC industry has entered a slump under the impact of such devices, which are dominated by Apple and Google's platforms, while Samsung has used a highly integrated conglomerate model to achieve a commanding position in the market. From the perspective of Taiwan's IT industry, Samsung and Apple are difficult to imitate. Although Taiwan's manufacturers are fairly highly skilled at each stage of the production process, there is no close cooperation between producers at the different stages. Samsung and Apple are able to consider which components, hardware, software, and application to match to make the perfect product. Close cooperation and communication between the manufacturers from different fields in the setting of specifications in the early stages of the design process is crucial for the future development of handheld devices. Faced with the changes in the production environment, Taiwan government has developed a strategy and action plan for the industry based on the manufacturers and government's belief that an overall plan was needed to match Taiwan's industrial structural characteristics to the demands of the smart handheld device industry. The core idea of the plan, the construction of a high value-added, labor-intensive smart handheld device industrial supply chain so that Taiwan can become the global center for the commercialization of smart handheld devices and the creation of innovative applications. The main aspects of this strategy are to integrate the manufacturers into a production chain to master the core technology, to develop wide-use application, and to link training to industry's demands. These 4 points are expanded on below. In terms of integrating the production chain, the main objective must be to strengthen the individual links, but where there may be breakthroughs or deficits in critical technologies, there may be a need for government assistance to achieve mass production or to facilitate upstream-downstream cooperation on preliminary product specification, leading to a perfect match between components and the finished products. Following numerous industry conferences in the past few years, this cooperation in search has produced preliminary results in such fields as active matrix organic light-emitting diode, the AMO LED panels, and application processor chips. As for mastering core technology, the ambition is for the government to work with the industry to begin R&D for next generation of key technology as early as possible. for such things as processor chips, hard and soft panels and sensors. That's why R&D integration of flexible AMOLED and touch panel technology that would have mass production potentials. As far as the development of wide use application goes, the focus is on how to enhance the added value of the hardware. Essentially, it is the application that sell the hardware. The government plan aims at deep vertical application with an emphasis on cross-industry synergy, developing of the hardware plus software plus application model to come up with a total solution. With regard to addressing the discrepancy between supply and demand for talent in the industry, the first step was to compose an inventory of the manufacturer's requirements and of the available talent pool. Educational institutions were encouraged to develop curricula more in line with the industry's demands and to cooperate with international manufacturers to produce certification courses and mechanisms. Software development contests are to be held to encourage more developers to get involved in creating new applications. Faced with rapidly changing industrial environment, government efforts to encourage development must be dynamically adjusted in keeping with the basic spirit of the plan. Future challenges, including breakthroughs in the development of key components such as touch screens or high-end processor technology, strengthening embedded software technologies such as for speech or handwriting recognition, establishing the infrastructure for next-generation communication services, and developing critical visionary patents. As a tiny island, Taiwan's IT industry is facing a major point, and the government agencies involved are duly bound to help overcome these obstacles. More importantly, it is critical that industry members cooperate with the government in its efforts to promote the sector. In Tamil Nadu, immense investment opportunities are created and provided with strong political will and powerful policy guidance. It is opportune time for foreign investors to seriously think about and grasp firmly the opportunities in the fields of IT hardware and electronics. Taiwanese investors are keen to identify suitable local partners and sites for operation in Tamil Nadu. Some already set up their operation here. To echo previous speakers' ambitious prediction, I personally expect the state government take this opportune time to offer to foreign investors, including those from Taiwan, more competitive incentives at the time when China's investment environment is no longer one of the most attractive destinations than years before. Thank you very much. Thanks.
I think that was an excellent paraphrasing of what is happening in Taiwan and the strategies that the Taiwanese government has used to develop the industry in Taiwan. Maybe we'll discuss after the next speaker, after the few speakers finish speaking, but what it is that you want us to do to replicate some of those strategies here. For instance, you said you should have a competitive investment environment. We'd like to know what else we need to do to bring that in. I'll next request Mr. Josh Folger to make his presentation.
Good afternoon and Vanakkam. Mr. Ramachandran, Dr. Kumar, thank you for fantastic arrangements here. I think as my fellow panelists have mentioned, I think This is why we are in Tamil Nadu. So you can see the scale and the precise arrangements, which is very important for the ICT electronics industry. So
I'm not adding that to your title.
well, I also have a small tracker in the bottom, so just in case people get worried about how many slides I have. So not many slides. So again, good afternoon, everybody, delegates, members of the press. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this fantastic event. I'm here going to talk about the employment opportunities this industry will provide, and it's already been providing over the years in Tamil Nadu. So here's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about why it makes sense in India. I'm going to talk a little bit about this fast-track task force, which was commissioned earlier, rather late last year, as a part of the 7th pillar, which Dr. Kumar was talking about, getting us closer to that net zero target. Talk a little bit about one of the 3 Ds, which Mr. Modi talks about, India's democratic dividend. I want to talk a little bit about Tamil Nadu and talk a little bit about Foxconn on the end. So why does this industry make sense in India? Four of my opinions, here, and I think it's maybe some of my panelists and my colleagues on the floor agree, disagree, but at least I've in my 20 years in this space, I've come to see benefits from these sort of 4 broad reasons. This industry, labor arbitrages is an important topic. And a lot of the industries, come here, because of that. This industry is labor intensive. There's no 2 ways about it. Last year in a meeting, I said that this industry will surpass automotive employment in India if it comes in scale. There will be mega manufacturing units, like Foxconn, Delta, Flextronics, others. And there will be MSMEs, SMEs, the whole 9 yards. You're going to have, as Dr. Veerappan was talking about, the people who will employ people who made the 80-90%, and some of us went for our master's degrees. So also, so it's a whole range of employment possibilities there. It is a large. Second thing is, it's a large volume industry. If you look at just the area I'm very familiar with, in mobile phones, 2.2 billion phones are made every year. In India, most of them are imported, starting to be made now in India, 300 million phones. We predict this year will be about 100 million smartphones are consumed in India. Hopefully very soon made in India. So it's a very, very large industry. The supply chain is global. I think it's some of the other panelists talked about. It is a global supply chain across the whole technology spectrum. It's very, very important to be aware of that. In my experience, the last 10 years in India, India is probably one of the very few countries which can replicate China. China has built this over the last 30 years. Foxconn has been part of that journey, in China. But India is one of the very few countries who can essentially replicate China in this. The fourth and important point is, I see potential customers. Hopefully, Amar may consider me also in the future. If you produce mobile phones, you can produce PCs. The PWBs, the surface mount technology, the mechanics technologies, display technology. One of our subsidiary companies, Innolux, you can cut that screen, the touch screen, which Charles was speaking about. You can cut it in a 5.5-inch format or a 60-inch format. You name it. You bring one huge category here, bring the component, the value chain here. You can deliver the rest of the things. Okay, so that's why it makes sense in India. We have all of that. Net zero, how do you get moving? One of the elements was mobile phones. We decided to focus just on mobile phones. Why? Because it's 300 million. It is a very, very large category of imports. The government of India thankfully fixed the inverted duty structure. There is 11.5% differential. Hence, a lot of people are locally manufacturing. So that's the roadmap. We are prepared. You see our goal is to make about 25% of all the phones made in the world, here by 2019. We want to employ about 1.3 million people. Mr. Ramachandran is very eager to have a bigger chunk of the pie. I think Tamil Nadu definitely qualifies among the top states in India, in the world, to definitely qualify for these jobs across the value spectrum. And the roadmap I presented there is a draft roadmap. We plan to launch this probably in November, the first week of November, after due consultation with various stakeholders, various companies, and of course the government's approval. But this is going to be a step-by-step approach, getting us closer to this, and all of those items there, which are our ecosystem creating entities. They may sound very simple there on those screens here, but it is not easy to get all of these things. So we are going to go through this. It's a fairly aggressive roadmap, but we intend to. The policy alignment of the government has been fantastic so far. We got a nod for this sort of approach. So we feel quite comfortable that we will hit these targets, supporting the government in their plans. Okay, India. I think everybody has seen this. This is a lot of our industry is in China today because they had a fantastic labor policy, labor democratic dividend there, but it's reducing. And this is going to be the story in about 10 years, where India will be one of the very few countries which have a net positive in terms of the population. I personally had experience in a few countries, and we have seen the wage rates and other things get out of control, completely disrupting your business model. And India is a country where we can continue to be a part of for much longer. And I think this is one of the key reasons. Okay, why Tamil Nadu? Tamil Nadu, I mean, somebody was saying is the third largest, but I really think the scale guys are here, have been here the last 10 years. I think Tamil Nadu ranks very highly in terms of, in my previous avatar, I chose with one of my colleagues sitting here, Chennai, because of all these reasons, mentioned here. The cargo connectivity is pretty good. The air and the seaport connectivity is, excellent, I'll say. But I think, the third bullet point I want to stress that this is one of the governments I know which kind of hangs around you even after they sign the MOU. So typically a lot of governments are very friendly with you until the MOU is signed, but my experience has been fantastic support, I should say. Even in the darkest hour, the government has been, with us. So thank you for that. The last point, I cannot say anything. If you want to do electronics manufacturing, you absolutely need availability of fantastic staff and sort of the operators. Very few states come close to Tamil Nadu, and I mean it. Very, very few states come close to Tamil Nadu. So, a couple of slides very quickly about Foxconn. Foxconn is a large company. We closed last year with about close to $150 billion. We are about 5% of China's export, so which says a lot. 1.5 million employees, predominantly in China, but spread over Europe and Americas also. This is our customers. We work for our customers. We joke that we make something for everybody. So we are number one, number two, making something for somebody somewhere. And I think some of our potential customers are also here on the stage. But we have now entered India. We're calling it our second innings. We are quite serious about it. Our chairman was here 6 weeks ago announcing the plans. We believe, as Dr. Kumar was very rightfully pointing out, Digital India is going to be the framework which we operate. Make in India, Skill India, and all those things are going to be a part of our pillars of driving our plans in India. And we look forward to continue to work with the Tamil Nadu government going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I did not have to tell you that you had time left, how much time you had left, because you did such a perfect job. In any case, I would have wanted you to go on, because you did such an excellent job of telling everyone what we should have been telling. And so thank you again. And we'll now, I promise you that I did not meet him except for a couple of times before this meeting, right? So what he said was entirely his opinion. So, which incidentally is very comfortable for us. We'll now have Mr. Alok Ohri, President and Managing Director, Dell India, talk to us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramchandran. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I see an absolutely packed house. That shows that the event has been extremely successful. It's a pleasure and honor to be participating in the panel discussion today afternoon here in the Global Investors Meet of Tamil Nadu. When you come in at the 7th slot to speak, it's always an advantage. It's an advantage because the co-panelists have probably covered most of the points that you want to make. So I'll spare you. I will not go through my charts. I have actually got 50 charts here. I was told that I'm supposed to talk for an hour. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'll try and do this in next 10 minutes. Let me begin by saying that, look, our lives, whether it is in the personal space or in the professional space, the business space, are changing very dramatically. They're getting digitized. I mean, digitization of everything is a reality. I mean, you see it happening, you saw it happening with regards to some of the electronics products getting launched a couple of decades back, but over a period of time, you've seen electronics getting embedded into almost anything and everything, including your cars, including your bikes, the things that you drive to office or to home, everything. What that's doing is actually opening up huge amount of demand for electronics. Electronics in the form of chips, in the form of boards, everything. And one can keep debating as to whether that size of the industry is X trillion or Y trillion. But if I was to go by some sources here, I heard a figure like 1.9 trillion earlier. I would say that the electronics manufacturing is more like 2.3 trillion, and it's growing at a phenomenal pace, given the fact that Internet of Things is a reality. Some of you understand this, but just for the sake of clarity here, Internet of Things is nothing but having an ability to collect data through the sensors on most of the activities that happen around us in our world. And what that means is that there are a whole lot of electronics that is going in to collect the data and bring it back into an infrastructure where you can actually make some sense out of that data and take some very, very critical decisions to continue to be relevant in that space that you are in. We believe that because of opening of IoT, the overall electronics manufacturing space is going to grow by another $1 trillion. So it's going to become more like $3.5 trillion industry. It's not going to remain at 2.3, 2.4 that we currently see. Since I'm supposed to talk more about IT products, I'll just give you a sense of what IT products contribute to that $2.4 trillion industry. Actually, IT products is just about $65 billion. Again, not small, it's a pretty large number. That's a global IT products market. Within that, interestingly, India contributes only 3%, just about 3%. That's small. Our domestic consumption is, right? Now, you talk to industry folks, my friends on the panel, they'll all tell you this market is expanding, it'll continue to expand, it'll become bigger and larger. And like Amar, I'm also an internal optimist, so I'm also hoping that this industry will continue to grow. I'm sure that will be music to ears of Kumud, because more that industry expands, more of Intel processors get sold, right? In IT products at least. Having said that, I would like to say this, that look, the 3% of contribution to the global market clearly indicates that there is huge amount of headroom to grow for us by looking at this market or this opportunity in a holistic manner. India should not look at Make in India as only a India consumption story. It should look at this opportunity as India consumption plus exports. I have a feeling that somewhere somebody had made that comment earlier, and I fully second that, that look, if you were to take this as a comprehensive opportunity that exists for India, then sure enough, some very bold and aggressive steps can be taken by the government. Government has been extremely progressive in its thought process, both at the center as well as the state level. Make in India is a great umbrella campaign, and I think it really brought to the attention the issue that and the challenge that exists in front of the country from a future point of view. We as a country have done exceedingly well when it comes to ITES space. A lot of it started 2 decades back, 2.5 decades back, and we all know what it has done to our economy. Today, our economy has about 10.5% of the contribution coming in from ITES space. The total contribution in terms of revenue dollars is almost like 100 billion plus. So companies like TCS, Wipro, etc., the homegrown companies have really helped the country bring in a whole lot of foreign exchange that is so badly needed, given that we always are on a deficit when it comes to importing, right? And that's the problem that the central government is trying to solve. Remove the trade imbalance that exists, get to a net zero imports by 2020, great vision. Frankly, this vision can be achieved only when we look at things a little more differently than where we are currently. I'm not trying to make a case here for anything other than the fact that, look, this is in the interest of the country. This is in the interest of the industry at large. It's not so much as just our company, but we have been working very actively along with other industry bodies like CII, ASSOCHAM, MATE, to really make a representation to the central government that the steps that have been taken so far are great. They're the steps in the right direction, but they definitely need to be accelerated to really include the larger gamut of the products that exist. What am I indicating at? I'm indicating at the fact that, look, very recently in the fiscal budget, there was a great announcement of differential duty benefit to smartphones and tablets. What that did is that it took away the inverted duty challenge that most of the electronics products in the country today face. It's much cheaper to import a fully assembled product into the country than to manufacture in India. And who better than us to say this, because we obviously have a fairly large presence. Some of you may know, but for the benefit of everybody, we have a very state-of-the-art modern factory running in state of Tamil Nadu. We feel absolutely proud of the fact that it can produce 3 million units a year. It is very close to Chennai, Sri Perunthapur, and it has been functioning since year 2007. We got great support on that factory from the Tamil Nadu state government. We continue to enjoy great relationship with the local government, but the fact is that it is not fully utilized. And I'm not saying something that is unique only to Dell. I'm saying something that is pretty much the case with every other competition friend of ours. I won't name them here, but yeah, some of them are in the audience, some of them are on the stage. Talk to them, they'll tell you that their factories are also underutilized. What that means is that there is a spare capacity there. What it also shows that the local demand hasn't really caught up to the levels at which they were designed for. These factories were designed for catering to a certain amount of demand in the market. It hasn't really caught up. What that also means that somewhere the affordability of these products is still challenged. If we can get the affordability up, then sure enough there will be more demand in the market, which can be catered to, which can come back to these factories. And even beyond that, the rest of the spare capacity can always